The story takes place in Halver's Creek, a quiet valley town where life is predictable and crises are small. That changes when a stranger, Elias Ward, arrives with a pamphlet announcing that the last day will come on the last Sunday of October. A specific, near-term date people can literally circle on their calendars. He is soft-spoken rather than ranting, with a preacher's charisma and a practical tone. Instead of demanding repentance, he talks about preparedness, using familiar language about storms and blackouts. This makes his message feel reasonable rather than extreme, and many residents begin to prepare, even if they are not sure they fully believe. Elias moves house to house with a notebook, helping families calculate food and water needs. Basements and spare rooms are cleared and neatly stocked. The disused storm shelter under Town Hall is scrubbed out and filled with blankets, flashlights, medical supplies, and a last necessities chest. After tense meetings, the school board allows the gym to host a community vigil called The Watch on the predicted date. These visible actions, shelves, sign-up sheets, converted spaces, make the prophecy feel concrete and give it social momentum. Daily life begins to orbit around the red-circled Sunday. People casually speak of doing things before the last day rather than next month or next year. In the evenings, Elias preaches in an abandoned movie theater beneath a peeling star mural, using a chalkboard to connect global events, storms, wars, strange lights, into a pattern that seems convincing to those already uneasy about the world. His quiet delivery forces listeners to lean in, building intimacy and trust. People who feel stuck in their own lives, regretted choices, unrealized dreams, are especially drawn to the idea of a meaningful, scheduled end that will wipe the slate clean. As his meetings grow, belief stops being a fringe oddity and becomes a live option inside families, marriages, and friendships. Halver's Creek divides, not along simple religious lines, but along fault lines of fear, hope, and dissatisfaction. Sheriff Dana Cole serves as the skeptical anchor and moral center. A lifelong resident, she knows the town's normal rhythms and sees them drifting off track. She starts keeping a notebook of symptoms. Workers skipping shifts because there's no point. Store owners reducing orders that would arrive after the date. Teens crossing out graduation and writing last day in their planners. The conflict turns personal when her son Noah abandons his college plans, calmly insisting there will be no universities after the prophesied fire. Dana feels trapped. Prophecy itself is not illegal, and Elias has not given explicit harmful orders, but his influence is eroding responsibility and future-oriented decisions. Her position highlights the gray area where free belief shades into communal harm. As October approaches, subtle decay spreads. Fences go unrepaired. Minor problems are left to future owners of a world people assume will vanish. Behind the church, a bonfire draws townspeople who burn letters, debts, and painful mementos in an attempt to travel light into the new era Elias promises. Outwardly, autumn makes Halver's Creek look idyllic, golden trees, crisp air, postcard skies. But beneath that beauty, the town is quietly hollowing out its own future. On the last day, the school gym becomes the story's central stage. Cots cover the floor. The principal's desk, draped in white and ringed with candles, acts as a makeshift altar. Families sign in as if at a peculiar hotel, some with backpacks of keepsakes, others with only blankets and Bibles. Children treat it like a special sleepover. Adults sit coiled around a mix of dread and hope. Meanwhile, Dana and a skeleton crew of deputies monitor the radio, hearing only normal programming from outside towns. Traffic, weather, sports, talk shows. The rest of the world is not ending with them, intensifying the sense that Halver's Creek has stepped into a private, self-made reality. As midnight nears, Elias preaches about thresholds and courage, casting the gathered crowd as chosen witnesses at history's hinge. The gym clock becomes a silent antagonist, its glowing digits counting down to the promised moment. When midnight arrives and nothing happens, no quakes, no trumpet, no sign, the tension peaks. Initially, some double down, arguing the change is invisible or uses God's time. But as minutes become an hour, the mood shifts from reverent to brittle. Whispers sharpen, chairs scrape. A baby cries and isn't immediately soothed. People begin looking less at the ceiling and more at Elias and the exit signs. Dana, watching, finally sees fear in Elias himself. The terror of a man faced not with divine wrath, but with being wrong in front of everyone. By dawn, the vigil dissolves. People file out under an ordinary sky, carrying blankets and the weight of anticlimax. Some avoid Dana's eyes, ashamed of what they almost gave up. Others demand that Elias be punished, trying to convert their humiliation into anger. Within weeks, his gatherings dwindle and he vanishes from town, leaving rumors of reappearing elsewhere with the same message. Halver's Creek is left to clean up wax strips, discarded flyers, and more serious messes. Unpaid bills, strained relationships, detoured futures. Life resumes its outer patterns. Basketball games in the gym, town meetings, school exams. But a subtle fracture remains beneath the paint. Extra canned goods sit quietly on a shelf, just in case. Noah returns to his studies but keeps the red-circled calendar page hidden in his desk as a private scar. Reporters occasionally try to mine the town for a tidy, failed cult story, but locals resist being flattened into a simple moral about gullibility. They answer cautiously, aware that what happened was more complex than a headline. The true legacy of the cult of the last day is internal. Each autumn, when the light over the valley turns that same bruised gold, people catch themselves looking up a little too long. They remember the electric clarity of living as if there might not be a tomorrow, and the disorienting weight of having to go to work, pay bills, and plan futures after the promised end failed to arrive. The story leaves them, and the reader, with lingering questions. Why is the assurance of an ending so seductive for those who feel trapped by their own lives? What does it do to a community when it has prepared so intensely for non-existence, only to find itself still here? And how do you live differently, if at all, once you've learned firsthand that the world can feel like it's ending and then simply continue? Subscribe and hit the like button for more interesting episodes.